All right, we're here at the EA Sports UK party. I'm here with Trey Smith, the creative director of NBA Jam on Fire Edition. Now, in the presentation that you were talking about that we had before, you mentioned a lot that you had a lot of feedback from the previous game. And so just kind of interested, what were some of the best and what were some of the worst, and how did you incorporate them into the game?
Well, I think the best was really just tag mode is one of those game mode things where I made the call early on last go around. Yeah. We're going to be true to the original. You can only control the player that you select, and that's what we're going to do. And one of the first things we did for this version on Fire Edition was pop tag mode in. And it's more difficult than just flipping a switch, but once we got it in and we played, it was one of those things where like, oh, that's so much better. It really is when you're playing with an AI teammate, being able to switch back and forth because you're engaged every single moment of play. And that was one of the features that immediately when fans were playing it, they're just like, I can't believe this doesn't have tag mode. Why doesn't it have tag mode? Like all of the things, tag mode. I was like, okay, tag mode. But yeah, fans were bang on with that. Some of the things that they wanted that we didn't want to, I don't know. I think every idea has merit. I think if anybody wants something, I think it's something that we have to at least look at and look into. I think a big piece of feedback that I'm excited that we listen to, and it's not just me, it's just the studio, is the fact that this is going to be a digital download on Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network for €13 or for £10 or $15 in the States or 1,200 Microsoft points. I mean, price point is obviously a real sensitive thing with gamers. And, we were excited to be able to drop the remix stuff, the boss battles and all that stuff from the game, focus on the 2-on-2 experience, and then bring it out at that price. Hopefully it means, we get a lot more people to show up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just explain a little bit more about the other new features and the new modes. I mean, you mentioned a career mode or like championship mode?
Yeah, it's we've got an online co-op campaign mode. That was another feature that was asked. We're calling it Road Trip. That was a feature that people asked for. We had a co-op campaign mode, and it was more of like the roommate, little brother kind of thing, where you play with your friend on the couch, and you play through together. And then people are like, can I play online? I have a sister and so, and we play online co-op games all the time. Now you can, and you both get credit all the way through. The other thing, we've got a dynamic online tournament mode we're calling Arena. And, people wanted to play in tournaments. People really wanted to, play against the best in the world. And we've put together a game mode that's going to allow you to do that.
Yeah, cool. So I noticed that there's a few new teams, the Euro teams, but also the political teams are pretty funny.
Yeah, they were in the original, and it is kind of funny. I mean, that's the cool thing about an arcade sports title is we don't take ourselves too serious. We've got our simulation titles, and they're awesome at that, and it's in the game, and it's there, and that's great. For us, it's like, what can we put in the game? It's kind of, arcade sports titles are games made for gamers first, and I think we can get a little squirrely when it comes to the teams, and it makes it fun. And a lot of the feedback we get is gamers showing up. It is people that really, they're not fans of the NBA, or they're casual fans, or haven't liked, for a while, but they'll pick up Jam and they play Jam because I almost look at it like it's a 2v2 fighting game in a sense. It's strengths and weaknesses. It's super twitchy gameplay. It's trying to anticipate what your opponent's going to do and how your team matches up against your friends and that kind of thing. So, it's a game for gamers.
Just want to go back to the political teams for a sec. What do you think Barack Obama would think of him being in NBA Jam? And has he ever given you any feedback?
We haven't got any feedback yet, no. And, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, he plays basketball. I've watched the YouTube videos. He's got game. He's a legitimate baller. I'd like to think that he thinks it's pretty cool. I don't know. We haven't heard any feedback really from any of the politicians about them being in our game. Obviously we're happy they haven't sued us. But I think it's cool. I think it's an international thing as well. I mean, even here, I think people are playing the politician teams more than the NBA teams, and I think, how often does that happen? I think that's kind of cool. So.
Yeah. So why do you think that people keep coming back to NBA Jam? I mean, I remember playing the original coin-op, back when I was like 12 years old or whatever. Why do you think it's still so consistent and everybody loves to play it?
For me, a game, it's all about gameplay, you know, and it's just, it could look pretty, it could, you know, sound awesome, it could, you know, all those other things, but if it's not fun to play, if it's not engaging from the moment you pick up a controller, and then there's not layer upon layer of depth for you to discover the more and more you play, so you can develop more strategy, so you can feel like you're getting better. If those things aren't there, then, you know, it ceases to be a game that's going to stick around for the ages, and it's something that, you know, that formula was there in the very beginning, you know, 1993 in the arcade, you know, coin op, and it's something that we wanted to, you know, we wanted to keep, but build upon, you know, and with that strong of a foundation, you can take greater steps to enhancing the experience, and I think that's it. I think there's a nostalgia tied to it. Tim Kitzrow, you know, just hearing boom shakalaka and some of the lines and his things and his energy and enthusiasm, bringing him back again. It's not Jam without Tim Kitzrow, you know, for sure. I think he's part of it. It just takes you to your happy place. I think, you know, the art style that we came up with, you know, the visual style is, it's indicative of what they did in the original, but it's kind of brought into the modern day. The simplicity of the experience, where if somebody picks up a controller for the first time and sits down with somebody that's played it for days or ages, you still get a competitive game out of it. It's satisfying to do 14 somersaults and dunk after you catch on fire. It's satisfying to block, to steal, to shove, to avoid a shove. You know, I think it's just all those things kind of put together that keeps people coming back for Jam.
Just talking about the different, like, you know, loads of somersaults just to, you know, do a dunk and everything. Where do some of these ideas come from? And like, is it a matter of sitting around a table and just coming up, throwing out all these crazy ideas? I mean, there must be some pretty funny things thrown out there.
Yeah, you know, we're really blessed to have our animation director, Matt Dirksen. He's an incredibly talented animator. He's classically trained. You know, he was a really hardcore snowboarder as well. And just, I think he's a student of animation, I think, in fluidity and posing, and, you know, and we had we put a lot of time and effort into kind of really establishing the blueprint of what a dunk. But really, it just doesn't look cool, you know. And it's just massaging, and you throw it in there the first time, you're like, needs more cowbell, and you kind of spread the legs a little bit and posing and that kind of thing. But yeah, it's not by accident. It's a fine tuning and a craft of a very talented team across the board. I mean, everybody on this team, it's ringers, you know. It's like, this isn't our first rodeo. We're all on this team because we enjoy working with each other. We enjoy working on this game, and we want to put the best game out there for Jam fans.
Yeah, sure. Just in terms of the current players in the NBA at the moment, have any of them grown up playing it, or do they get involved in the game? I mean, what happens there?
We've had a handful of experiences. Last year was with Dwight Howard, Kevin Love. Gosh, they all know it. They all played it. I mean, Shaquille O'Neal, I heard stories that when he traveled on the road, when he played for the Orlando Magic, he would get 2 hotel rooms, one for him and the other one for his jam cabinet, and they would all hang out there, you know. So I think it'd be difficult to find an NBA player that doesn't know Jam. Yeah, it's so embedded in the culture, and I think a lot of them grew up playing. And, you know, and there's a part of us that knows, you know, these guys are under a lot of stress when they're traveling lots or before games or something. They play games to blow off steam just like we do. And, you know, there's a part of us that know they're going to be playing that. So when we give somebody a 4 rating, a dribble rating, you know, they're going to go, what, a 4 dribble? I'm a better dribbler than that. It always happens, but we're sensitive to those kinds of things too. But at the same time, we have to create what we think is the best playing game, and you know, realistic to an extent, but at the end of the day, that creates the best user experience that we can. And sometimes, you know, we got to tell it like it is when it comes to stats. There are strengths and weaknesses, but a lot of players, if it was up to them, they'd just be straight 10s, and then the game would be no fun to play.
Yeah, that's right. All right, well, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Can't wait for the game to come out. Is it October?
Yeah, it's early October on Xbox Live Arcade, PlayStation Network, and there's going to be a free trial, right? So you can download that, try it out. If you like it, you know, we'd love to play you online.
Yeah, cool. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.